So we thought that there wouldn't be any resumption of play, and that's exactly what has happened in Centurion. Heavy downpour over there. It continues, in fact, and then we saw the umpires then have a word with both the captains and communicate to them that no play will be possible today. Something that we told you on Sports Day just a short while back as well. But now we'll obviously be talking in length as to how the day really panned out. Of course, not a lot of cricket or as much as cricket as was projected to be. You were looking at 90 overs, but then you saw only 59 overs because you lost on half an hour at the start, and then towards the end as well you could only see 9 overs, to be precise 9.3 overs being bowled in the final session, where you were looking at some sort of an extension, in fact, to make up for that half hour that was lost earlier on, but none of them could happen as rain played spoil sport, and none of those overs could as a result be bowled. But gents, let's just spend some time now talking about how exactly things have panned out. And of course, from the point that India were in at the start, 3 wickets being lost for a sub 30 total, from that point on, for India to be where they are right now, I think there'll be some sort of happiness in that camp. Just a little bit of silver lining, if there was to be one, would probably be KL Rahul.
I mean, just consider when KL Rahul was there, India were 121 for 6. So from that position on to hit 87 runs with numbers 8, 9 and 10, that itself should give you an appreciation as to why KL Rahul is very, very important in these kind of situations. And see, once the rain came at the high world, once it starts, it doesn't stop pouring. So that's why it is going to be a big, big situation now, because every single day now, what you're going to see from this test match, there is going to be an extension.
Yeah, in fact, the official confirmation we've gotten is that every single day now will consist of 98 overs. Good luck if you're South Africa with no spinners.
Yep, and remember, they just have about 11 overs left to take the remaining 2 overs, because if they don't take the remaining 2 wickets in 11 overs and they carry on, then they may be in risk of an overrate penalty. So that's the situation that we have got. So to sum up this day, it's only 2 individuals that we have to talk about to sum up this day 1 of the Boxing Day Test match.
One from either camp?
Yep, KL Rahul and Kagiso Rabada. KL and KG, because remember, KL 70, I think it is worth its weight in gold. I mean, if you have to look at it in the broader scheme of things, if he can get another 20, 30 more, then India are in with a chance. Because tomorrow, day 2, unfortunately, the weather is not looking great.
30 takes him to a second century at Centurion.
Yes. I mean, he'll be one of the few rare individuals to get 200s, back-to-back hundreds in the same venue. If you have to look at Tendulkar, I think has gotten in Newlands twice. Then KL Rahul will be in that elite list. So 30 more runs, India can look at 240.
The only question is, while KL Rahul has looked very composed and in control, as a matter of fact, will he have enough partners on the other side? That's the big question. Because you saw Jasprit Bumrah hang around there for a while, 19 balls that he faced. I remember 10 odd balls, he hadn't even opened his account.
Yeah.
Same with Shardul Thakur, you see 10 balls that he's faced, barely able to get back to ball. The only thing is, again, and you're going to be looking at concentration being lost, you'll again have to rebuild and restart. And I mean no disrespect to Siraj, but even the best batters out there take about good half an hour, 40 minutes to get their eye in the following day. It's going to be very difficult there from Team India, and for the tail to really give KL Rahul the kind of support. Though, let's just hope he gets that kind of support and hopefully convert this 70 into a 3-digit score. But it's not going to be easy, and maybe you will see KL Rahul just come out there and just throw his bat at most things, because he knows that he may really, it's a matter of 2 balls for all you know, and he could be stranded at the other end.
Yikes, look at those visuals. Oof, absolutely horrendous at Supersport Park at this point, because once the high weld storm settles in, it settles in for 2 to 3 hours. And tomorrow we are going to have a similar kind of a storm warning also. So only day 2, that is the rain affected day. Apart from the 3 days, it's cloudy, but no chances of rain. Very minimal chances of rain, in fact. So 8 wickets have fallen for 208. Looking at the current situation, I think the test match has already progressed at a good rate. Wherein you may see a result maybe on day 5. It's gone to that extreme now, because today look at the lengths that Kagiso Rabada bowled. Okay, short, good length, full. he exploited all the lengths on the Centurion wicket, and that's why he averages 16 here for a reason.
You know, in fact, Siddharth, the broadcaster made a very good observation about how Kagiso Rabada changed his lengths from session 1 to session 2. If he was bowling good 8 meters away, which was more on the shortest side, it had then changed to about 6 meters. So again, he'd gone a little fuller and he was getting that bounce, which we saw, let's say, in the case of both Kohli and Ashwin as well.
Yeah.
Ashwin in particular, that extra bounce. So again, pushing forward is what helped South Africa and Kagiso Rabada in particular. So he was very tactful that way in terms of knowing, and I'm sure that an assessment was made at the lunch break, because I'm sure the bowling coach would have pointed out that, listen, you got to bowl fuller. You're going way too short right now. Yes, it reaped dividends with that wicket of Rohit Sharma, with that man planted for that particular shot, but otherwise, yes, just changing his lens really did the trick for Kagiso Rabada.
Yep, it did happen. So look, Yashasvi, full delivery. Rohit Sharma, short delivery. Shubman Gill down the leg side, it was a shortish delivery. Then you look at Kohli, peach of a delivery.
Yeah.
Shreyas Iyer, again unlucky, he got that delivery because it came back in, it stayed low.
More than came back in was the fact that it stayed low. I think he did read the swing too late. But what really did him in was the fact that it stayed so low.
Stayed low, and that too at pace, you do feel very, very unlucky in that. Then Ashwin,
Also
short
got an
delivery.
absolute snorter.
Shardul and Shubman are the only guys who you want to say that they threw their wickets away.
Oh, Yashasvi and Rohit too.
also. See, but then he was tempted into that drive was there. But you have to show that bit of discipline, get behind. He didn't get behind that. Inexperience, it's only his third test if I'm not mistaken. Then Shubman threw his wicket away. Shardul, again, that shot. Especially after you got hit, you didn't have to play that kind of a shot. And again, you can't expect much from Jasprit Bumrah and Mohammad Siraj. But remember, you say 27 or 56 was the partnership between Bumrah and KL. KL had 26 of them. And he shepherded the tail pretty well. I mean, if you have to look at KL Rahul, the person who we are going to focus on, came in at immense pressure. 107 for 5 if you have to, 92 for 4 if you have to look at it. When Shreyas fell, he came in. Withstood a good spell from Kagiso Rabada. Then he's now hit over 116 runs, out of which 87 have come with 7, 8 and 9 at the crease. So I would say, I mean, the highlight for me was, why do you need KL Rahul in these kind of situations? I mean, I remember Shane saying on top that yes, this kind of situation is tailor-made for KL Rahul.
Yeah, because there's there's a need to consolidate as much as anything else, and then kind of look to be aggressive on occasion. So in fact, I'd say the kind of role he played here was pretty much the role he was playing at 5 in ODIs, where he was coming in at tricky situations. You remember once against New Zealand, once against Australia.
Yeah.
He got those kind of knocks where he was, it wasn't New Zealand, it was Sri Lanka. Where he was coming in, the top order had collapsed. He's having to rebuild, but then also kind of play an attacking knock. He did that today. I mean, 10 fours, 2 sixes. You're batting at a strike rate of 66, despite mostly batting with the tail. That's impressive.
And just again, for all those people who may have a criticism against KL Rahul, that 67.67 strike rate is much more than the strike rate he had in the final. In that ODI final. 66 of 106. Definitely lesser than this. So, I don't know. I mean, KL Rahul, if you have to look at it going forward, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Is 6 his ideal number? Because remember, he is mostly going to be batting with the tail. And you are not going to get these kind of situations every single time. For maybe if Shardul had not stayed around, you would have folded up for even lesser. And KL's contribution would have been a 40 of 70 or 80 in that sense. So, okay, great knock, but going ahead, is the number 6 slot ideal for KL Rahul?
But I don't think he can help much.
Yeah, I mean, where else does he play?
Yeah.
You can't play anywhere else.
And every lower middle order bat has to do that. Simple as that. You pray to God that there is some support at the other end, or maybe in an ideal scenario, who knows, or in an ideal scenario, perhaps somebody batting at number 5 could be giving you support if you're batting at number 6. And if let's say Shreyas was to have that kind of a day wherein he looked good for a century or maybe something good as 70, 80, then that's the kind of ideal, and then you can make do with, let's say, 3-4 people that are to come after you, and that should be fine as a lower middle order bat.
But again, first day of a first test in a Sena country, India have again underwhelmed. I mean,
It's an old problem, isn't it? That we always have this thing that, India, whenever they're on an overseas test tour, particularly in the Sena nations, they're always poor starters or slow starters. Once again, the top order, I mean, your top order would be what? Your top 3?
Top 5.
Your top 5 if you're extending it to the middle order. I mean, of Kohli and Shreyas got starts, but beyond that, nothing. Nothing.
But otherwise, you consider top 3 as a top order, you only got what, 24 runs?
24 runs.
That's
the
a cause of worry.
Same problem all over
worry.
again. It is. And it's not like it's a new phenomenon. It's been there in every Sena country that we have had.
And for the past few years, even at a time.
I would say a few decades.
Yeah, I mean, few years particularly because India have developed this reputation. I mean, you won back-to-back test series in Australia. I was seen as a big thing.
Yeah.
But even through that problem persisted. You needed a 36 all out to spur you on to get that 2-1 victory.
Correct.
So, you've always had that problem.
Yeah. See, 2018 was the only exception in Australia. You won the first test there, but that too by 31 runs. And that too, the Adelaide test wasn't a pink ball test. It was a red ball test.
Correct.
You lost in Perth. Okay. If you look at New Zealand, the only time you won a first test there was 2009. Go behind by 10 years or 20 years, go ahead by 10 to 12 years, you never won a first test there. South Africa seems to be the only place where you seem to be doing well. You won in 2006, the first test match. 2021, you won the first test match there.
But even there's been you've had a 2018, the 17-18 tour.
Where you lost the first test, gone.
First test, second test also.
Yeah.
By the time the third test came around, it was too little too late.
Too little too late. And also, if you look at it, 13, you just about escaped losing the first test. India were just not able to defend 458. Fell short by 8 runs, but that's because overs were done.
Overs were done. Correct.
So, England, if you look at it, you
always start slow.
No, in 2021, didn't you win the first test there?
I think that was the only time.
No, you won in. You didn't win the first test, you drew in 14 and you won the second. You are up 1-0 in 2 tests, but the next 3 you lost.
Badly.
Then 18, you lost in Edgbaston. 20, why am I not able to remember 2021? The one where Shardul and Siraj did very well. Where did we play the first test?
Wouldn't have been Lords for sure.
I won't recall like that.
See, Leeds we lost. We won Oval.
Birmingham was the last.
Was the last.
Which got carried forward. Prior to that, I think you played Old Trafford as. Third was Old Trafford.
No, third was not Old Trafford. Third was Leeds. Third was Leeds. Fourth was Oval. And fifth was supposed to be Birmingham, Old Trafford, but that got abandoned, went to Edgbaston.
Edgbaston, yeah.
What was the first test? Trent Bridge. But you drew in Trent Bridge.
Even then, that draw was seen as a big thing.
Yeah.
Because more often than not, you tended to always...
Rain impacted. That's why. So, Trent Bridge, and then you won at Lords. You lost at Oval. You lost at Leeds, you won at Oval, you lost at Edgbaston. So, that's... Sena country starting has always been a major issue for India. And this test, if India, God forbid, lose it, same old questions.
In fact, I could say that the same thing was what impacted you in your 2 World Test Championship finals also. First and only test match in an away, and that in England. You always tend to struggle. Sure enough.
Actually, technically in that 21-22 series,
it wasn't your first.
Trent Bridge wasn't the first, it was the World Test Championship. New Zealand.
Correct.
Where you lost. Even 23, you played only 1 in England, 1 test you lost there.
Exactly. Because you didn't play anything else after that in terms
that's the thing. In the Sena countries, the top order again have been blown away, and this time I would say careless shot making, not by good bowling.
See, you expect some of these teething issues or these mistakes to happen. Let's say at least somebody like, let's say, a Gale or Yashasvi, again, first time that they're going out there playing in South Africa, so they wouldn't quite know about the bounce as much, the conditions that much. So maybe your first few mistakes, maybe you let those pass. With Gill though, I think you can have some criticism because he's been around with the Indian team far more, he's travelled far more, he's played in Australia, he's now a regular. Yashasvi still just on his second tour, and it's his only second test series also.
Yeah.
So with Yashasvi, yes, you'll have to be much more lenient at the moment, and it's just the first innings here in South Africa. And sure enough, lot of learnings for these youngsters. And see, they will be making these mistakes. You don't expect them to because they're playing for India. But again, they're also youngsters, and this Indian batting more so is in a transition.
You know what is the unfortunate thing with Yashasvi and all? They are expected to learn so quickly. Like for example, if I have got only 1 year's experience, but you've got 7 years of experience, I need to match your ethic and your thing right away. There is not much time. See, already 1 innings is done. You're only potentially left with 3 more innings in South Africa.
Why? I think at the moment, and this is where the criticism and the short tempers, I would say, and this loss of patience sort of comes from the fans. I think because every test series now has the World Test Championship riding on the mind. So again, you would want to qualify, and which is why you want to be succeeding. Now a draw is not a desirable result. Let's say you want to be going for wins at all points, because that's one way of securing your place.
I mean,
in the
you're talking
WBC
about draws.
final.
I mean, that one draw that India had against New Zealand almost put them on the edge of elimination. They had to somehow make a dead pitch in Ahmedabad to ensure.
Yeah, you needed bare minimum a 2-1 scoreline for India to proceed.
Exactly. And you needed New Zealand to beat Sri Lanka. And they did it with 1 ball to spare. And that's why.
Let's not remind ourselves of that moment.
I know. So that's why, see, as I mentioned in the series, in this World Test Championship cycle, South Africa have a very favourable draw. Very favourable draw. India are potentially got 3 tough assignments. This is one tough assignment, South Africa. Okay, we may be thinking that that team is currently low on white ball form. It's not back. It's gone back to its regressive period when they were out of form. But England in test matches, I would want to say that they may give you a fair run for their money. I mean, if you look at it. And then you've got 5 tests in Australia. That's a killer. And which is why
that's going to be a fag end of next
December,
year.
December
24. You're looking at Boxing Day match.
Melbourne.
Of course.
Yes.
Melbourne.
Yes. And a New Year's test in Sydney.
Yes.
And I don't know, I think you may not play in Gabba. You will not play at the Gabba. You may play
because
in
it's been breached now?
No, they are revamping it. No,
they are revamping the stadium. Yes.
For the 2032 Olympics.
So then where exactly are the 5 matches going to be played? Because it's going to be a 5-match series.
Adelaide,
Perth.
Perth will be Optus, right?
Optus.
Adelaide, Perth, Sydney.
Melbourne. And
Hobart maybe.
Mostly Hobart.
Hobart.
India have never, I think India never played in Hobart, a test match. They played ODIs, but they never played.
Because traditionally India would always be playing 4 tests, and the 4 tests it used to always be Brisbane, Adelaide, Melbourne, Sydney.
Yeah.
That's pretty much the extent of it.
Now I think it will be Perth, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide, and Hobart. Yeah. Because I don't know whether it's going in renovation in 2024 or 2025. But I think if it's 2024, if they're not planning to make it a renovating thing, then they will mostly push it to 2025. So I think India might even play in Brisbane. We don't know the venues yet. We don't know when it is starting. So let's see. But overall, I would say it was 55-45. South Africa will be the happier team today.
60-40.
I'd go 60-40 as well.
Because again, they know full well that yes, KL's done a lot, but you need 2 balls to get to 2 tail-enders.
Yeah.
And it may not be enough even then. Mind you, KL has at best given you a fighting chance. A fighting chance. It's not a match-winning kind of first innings by any stretch of the imagination.
But don't you think with the way how the wicket is behaving, okay, you saw some balls that were bouncing very erratically. And there is a bit of zip. Don't you think the Indian pacers were like, okay, 220. I think it's enough. Will they go into that?
They could. You don't know. Yeah. Like very well could.
But I'm just saying, if you're batting first, you would at least be looking about 250, 270.
If not 300.
If not 300. That too, again, I'm cutting down all those runs because you're not playing in the subcontinent. Okay, South Africa, anyway, averages are low. Indian averages are even lower. I think 22 is the average for Indian batters out there. Not like South African batters averaged a lot over there, I think, but their average is slightly more than
better.
20. It's
27,
26, 27. 26, 27 for South Africans as well. Again, it's difficult batting conditions out there, and like Shane said, KL Rahul only giving India a fighting chance, and otherwise if KL Rahul wasn't to be there, South Africa would have had a runaway lead of sorts, or would have been runaway winners in this particular test match. But India definitely have a little bit of a chance over here now, and
so that's the way. We'll take some comments now, because 208 for 8, if India can get to 240, I think then they'll be very happy with the way how they're going about it.
Oh, they'll be dancing.
Yeah, so that's
40
why.
from here.
So Rookie Techie saying, just 1 second. Bavuma injured hamstring tear and fourth innings power is 140, first innings is 240, 260.
See, it wasn't a tear.
It's a strain. So that's why on a weekly or on a daily assessment, he is going to ensure that, okay, he may want to bat. So, and Gaurav Sharma saying India is in trouble. I am not going to.
Satish says the same.
I don't think so, Satish B. I'll wait until the third day. Third day is normally the moving day, and tomorrow's weather is also not that great.
Yeah, that's why I'm going to go one further than I'll wait till day 4. Because again, tomorrow you're expecting a lot of rain. I don't know how much movement you're going to get in terms of where this test match is heading. But beyond that, I think, this is still evenly poised. Again, India's bowlers, I do have a lot of faith in overseas conditions. So, the batting on the other hand does tend to blow hot and cold.
Except in South Africa, very surprisingly. It's reverse. The batting doesn't give you hope, but last 2 series, if you have to look at it,
I suppose, again,
the bowlers have let you down.
Yeah, because you had those totals which should have been defended.
Exactly. So, well, many people are saying, oh, you can't bat a keeper very up the order. I mean, it's the problem because you'll have to bat him lower down the order because he's there throughout the test match. He has to shoulder a very heavy workload. That is why 5 and 6 is a very ideal position for him. But I think the likes of Quinton de Kock, I think, again, who are all the keepers in the modern era that we felt, okay, have not gone on and opened the batting order at the top 3? MS Dhoni never batted at number 4, 3 or above. Gilchrist definitely never did.
No, he was 6-7.
6-7, yeah.
Yep. Sangakkara to a certain extent was 3-4.
3-4.
Kumar Sangakkara.
He was one of the few.
Very few. Then if you have to look at England, Bairstow.
Bairstow bats lower down the order. He doesn't open.
Yeah,
in fact,
he's now is 7.
Yeah, in fact, even if you go before a Bairstow, they tried Butler over there. He would bat lower down the order. A Matthew Pryor would bat lower down the order.
Yeah.
Jaron Jones would bat lower down the order.
Thinking
More
of
often than not,
Australia, let's say Haddon also.
or lower down.
Haddon or even Carey.
Carey.
English, maybe when he gets to play.
What about Akmal, Sarfraz?
All lower down.
Sarfaraz was 4-5.
5-6 type.
Yeah, 5-6. Sarfraz also in that
5,
same
yeah.
thing. Yeah. So yeah, I think there is a point, but then where you can't actually play because the top order is such, you can't play him in any other position like you rightly said.
And with KL, I mean, the only place you could play him potentially now, maybe 3. Maybe. And even that's the only open spot. I think you've earmarked Gill as a long-term prospect. That's a different matter right now. His form is gone. But that's the only position I can think of. Are you going to, there's not that much of an age difference between him and Kohli also. 4-5 years. So he can't be seen as a long-term option for that spot either. Not for number 4. So I don't know. I think and KL, you have to remember, if a Rishabh Pant was fully fit and playing right now, won't be playing in
and
this
even Pant also was 5 or 6.
Yeah, he used to come in 6 only.
Yeah.
Because Iyer would be your number 5. In fact, before Iyer, who was your number 5? Rahane. So always Pant was coming in at 6 only.
Yeah.
In the subcontinent, it used to be Jadeja 7, Ashwin 8. Abroad, it used to be a Jadeja and then maybe Pandya, Shardul, depending on who was playing at that point in time. So keepers more often than not don't bat to higher up the order in Test cricket. That's correct.
So, okay, Vishal Panchal is saying, checking the scorecard just now. Why did Ashwin play it? You missed that particular important
Vishal, Jadeja's complained of back spasms before the game, so is unavailable. Otherwise, I'm pretty sure he would be starting.
Actually, if you ask Vishal, he may not be available for the second Test match also. Because there's just 3 days of turnaround.
4 days, yeah.
4 days, yeah. 3rd
31, 1, 2, or 3 days only.
3 days, 31st, 1st and 2nd,
Yes,
3
yes,
days.
yes.
You make that couple of hours journey from here to Cape Town. And that's about it. You restart from the 3rd of Jan.
Kritik points out that at one point Bairstow was batted 4, but Kritik, that was also the time when Bairstow wasn't expected to keep. He hasn't always played as a wicket-keeper bat for England.
Only about 30-40 tests he's kept in his career.
Wanted to make Josh Butler a keeper, and I think he's played about 40, 50 tests if I'm not mistaken.
30 or 40, yeah.
So, and they gave him a long rope. He did keep wickets. So, actually, yeah, he's right. Sangha is probably one of the only few who really batted at the top of the order.
Exactly. Oof.
Because, who was India's keeper prior to Dhoni?
Prior to Dhoni...
Dinesh Karthik used to bat lower down the order.
Oh no, Karthik used to open.
Karthik occasionally... Oh yes, he's opened also.
With Jaffa, he used to open a lot. So, that's the thing. But I think Karthik opened when Dhoni was the keeper.
Correct. You're right.
I don't.
So he'd play only as a batter, not as a wicketkeeper batter.
Exactly. So that's the thing. But wait, Karthik was 2007. Dhoni didn't play in 2007.
Yeah, then he kept. I don't recall him always opening. He flitted up and down the
Yeah,
order.
he did. I think Dhoni started in 2007 after South Africa. 6-7, I think Dhoni wasn't the
Then it was
test
Karthik
thing.
No, he wasn't playing test cricket at that point.
Sarchandra saying top order has improved after Rohit becoming opener. Check stats, but which stats and which position and where, in which continent?
Exactly. In India, though, of course, I agree.
India and subcontinent, you've always been great. Okay, the extension is Australia. But Rohit, by the way, hasn't played much in Australia. Also,
Certainly not as an opener.
And he was at number 6.
Correct.
That is the thing with Rohit. The 50 he scored against Australia and Melbourne, it came at 6.
So
that's why. I would say, see, Rohit, as far as everything is concerned, Sena countries, there is a problem. Let's admit to it. Sena countries, there is a lingering problem about your starting on the first test.
Always. That's been an issue at this point.
Except, I'll tell you, in the 21st century itself, 6, Johannesburg, you won the first test there. Then if you have to look at 21, you won the test match. 18, you won the test. 23 years, just 3 tests you won. 2009, Hamilton, 4. Just 4. Yeah. That's the problem. So, any other further questions? Nothing against Shreyas. Even KL also plays 2 formats. By the way, he may play 3. Looking at how it is.
Looking at how things are panning out.
Exactly.
How things are going. He very well may be a 3 player.
Any other questions?
Can come down?
Yep.
Jiten Chandrana is saying the key today was length. Full length from the bowlers with seam and bounce was very tough to play. The only chance the batter was to force the bowler to drag the length back. Agreed.
Exactly. And in the second session, you saw a lot of bouncers being bowled. Lot of them. And some were accurate, some weren't so. I think I remember one from Berger, if I'm not mistaken. One just went through only till here. The other delivery from the same spot shot through. So that's why big problem. So Gill is overrated. Avinash is saying Pujara is better than Gill.
Again, but let's please not go back to the whole Pujara thing. I think the team management have taken a call in that regard. Have said no, we're moving past that style of play now. We want players who will give us a little bit more, let's say, impetus in the middle order.
Do you have any idea of the playing conditions? Then we can call it quits for tomorrow and day after.
See, playing conditions, I know tomorrow, I don't know what the starting. 98 overs is what they're going to be targeting. But again, 98 overs with one team having no spinner and the other having one. Yikes. And even tomorrow, I doubt. I mean, there's already a rain threat it's just as bad as today, if not worse. And by the way, today the rain was expected around 5 o'clock local time, if I'm not mistaken. It came at around 4:20.
Yeah, it did. Because the high wild weather can change any time. So that's why. So that's the current situation we have. Unfortunately, only 59 overs could be bowled. And tomorrow the weather forecast isn't looking all that great either. But we hope that we get a little bit of action. And towards the fag end, hopefully the rain comes. Then at least we would have seen a lot of movement in this test. So 208 for 8, KL Rahul on 70. 5 wickets for Kagiso Rabada. But whatever action was there for 15 overs, it did give us a lot of...
Oh, it was good 59 overs. Like, I mean, it was breathtaking. You just wish you had more of it.
I mean, the sight of the ball swinging, hooping, that extra bounce, batters have had to fend for their lives and everything. That's Test cricket for you folks. That's why we love the format. So we'll be back tomorrow for the second day and we'll join you at the lunchtime from day 2. Me, Harshit and Shane wishing you bye-bye. Tap that bell icon so when you go live, more stories coming your way from Sports Today.
Bye-bye.